So this is guys about back at home. It's way after Godzilla Fest, but I'm way behind on crunching the numbers and figuring out. I know I made money, but how much and whatever. And so I'm going through that now, and I wanted to do a few impressions, roundups, post-mortem, whatever you're going to call it. You probably got this from the videos, but I have very mixed feelings about this show. I made money. I had fun. It wasn't a great show. I like the people who put it on. I like the people I was vending with. I like the fan. I liked everything about it except all the logistics, basically. And I've done shows with Bay Area film events before. I personally know the people in charge, and they have just done smaller shows. This was a bigger show than they've ever done, and they were partnered with several other entities, let's say. And I know that some of those entities made things difficult. I know a lot of this after the fact now, too. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that made prices be what they were, made times be what they were, quick venue changes. There was a problem with the person who was doing the website and the information, and just everything that could go wrong did go wrong for the first big show, also partnering with other people. So I'm giving it a bunch of grace, but what worries me is my whole thing was like, hey, if I make money, I'd love to do this again next year. Even if I break even, I'd love to do it again next year because it's just fun. And I will, because I made money. I didn't lose money, so I'll invest in it again. That's kind of my general philosophy. If I enjoy the show and I don't lose money or make money, then I'll try it again. And so I will live by that. But I know there were dissatisfied people and skeptical people about next time and this and that, like attendees, I should say. And so I'm worried that I'll go next year. It'll be a better, more well-run show, and nobody will go. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that is my worry. We got a year they have a year to prove otherwise. They have a year to earn back confidence and trust. And I'm not saying don't go. I'm saying, hopefully next year it'll be better and I'll be there. And like I said, I liked it, but I understand that there were issues that hopefully will be rectified with the new structure next year. All that being said, the hours were short. Friday was 8 to 9:30. I happened to do okay because I sold original art, but otherwise it was a huge waste of time. People from out of town like me had to either stay at a friend's house an extra day, get a hotel room an extra day. It's just more cost for an hour and a half of potential sales. And everybody was selling a little bit, but it was a very small pool of VIP people too. So it was a weird event. Saturday, 11 to 5. Saturday's the big day. Why was it starting so late and ending so early? I don't know. Most shows would start a little earlier, end a little later. Sunday, 11 to 4. That's normal Sunday hours, so I really don't have an issue with that. But overall, it felt like there should have been more hours. And if maybe they canceled Friday and had more hours Saturday, that would have been better all around. I did sell out of a few prints, which is funny because I talk about how I talked about this. It's always a fear of mine that I'm going to have a popular print and end up leaving money on the table or fans unsatisfied. Like, oh, I only had 10 and sold out and 10 more people asked me for it. I should have brought 20. And so I'm always bringing more prints than I need. But the problem is I never know which are going to be the popular prints. And so I had my Gigan playing guitar, Godzilla -1, Godzilla vs. Destroya, and my Shin Godzilla. 4 that sold out. All of them I had between 5 and 10, maybe a couple I had a few more. Let's say between 5 and 12 of each of those, 5 and 15. I'm making up numbers here, but I know I had at least 5 of each of them. Some of them I had as many as 10, 12. I say that because I sold the ones I had, and then I sold the one off the wall, and then I sold the one in my book. So I was selling like demos that I don't normally count in inventory. And I went back and forth of like, should I try to print these? Should I get my wife to send me the digital files so that I could print them here and run? I'm like, that's going to be so much effort and time. And then maybe what if I sell 2 more? Is that really worth it? People can get it off my website if they like. I gave out a coupon code for people that wanted something that couldn't get it that day. And I'm going to try to not let that influence the next show where I'm like, I better bring 20 because you can't live like that. And I do need to have a smaller inventory. I used to have 8x8 prints? Yeah, 8x8 print squares. And I basically don't sell those anymore. I have a bit left in my inventory. I did a clearance sale on my Etsy store and I sold them for like rock bottom prices. When I sell prints, I slip them in there, give them away. If I do a live show, I might put some out at clearance, but I don't make 8x8. I don't really advertise 8x8. 9x12 is another size I have, which I'm doing the same thing with. There's a couple prints I have kicking around, but I'm phasing that out so that I will only have 11x17 and 9x6. I think that will help things a lot in a lot of ways because I'll have less displays I have to do. I'll have less inventory I have to keep track of, things like that. The other thing is I always have trouble with inventory. Part of like, what did I sell? What items sold well? And that kind of stuff. That's part of it. I did a better job tracking that. I have a pretty good idea what sold. And it was mostly Godzilla stuff. Very little Power Rangers, a few here and there, but like, it's further proof that I don't need to bring every Power Ranger I have. It's tough because like if you add up all the Power Rangers I sold, yeah, maybe it was like an extra $100. Was it worth dragging them all out there? I don't know. Some shows I need that $100. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want. I don't want fans to be disappointed. They're looking for work of mine, and I don't want to lose money. But it's difficult when I'm doing these far away shows. When I'm driving, whatever, I bring everything. But what I did, because I sometimes somebody will watch the table for me, like the big dog's watching the table, or it'll get busy and I'll ring up like 3 people within 5 minutes. I'm like, did I write everything down? And I start to worry about inventory just to see what I sold, but also sometimes money. Not worried about losing money, getting ripped off, but when I do a show, I'll have a big wad of cash and a bunch of PayPal and credit card things. And so I'll have income from all these different streams, but I'll also have how much money was in my pocket when I started and how much did I spend. I account for my table and all that stuff, but then it's like, how much did I spend this weekend in terms of I bought a coffee and I needed to buy some tape and, went out to eat and like the Uber to get there was this much. And so to get all those costs right, I need to know exactly how much I'm making and where, like what my gross income is, and then make those deductions, and then I know how much I made, blah, blah, blah. And I'm always pretty okay about that, but not perfect. And so I had the idea I was going to inventory what I was bringing. So I had a list of every print I was bringing and how many. But I ended up adding some more prints at the last second. I ended up trading a few prints, giving a few away, and just things happened. And I'm like, that didn't help either. So I had a different way of tracking the inventory / sales that resulted in, once again, a not 100% accurate thing. And there's got to be a better system. Part of it might just be having somebody else with me, but that's usually not possible. I don't know. There's got to be a better system. I'm sort of getting back into cons now after a long time, and I was almost going to not do it, but I've done well the last few. So I have one lined up in January. I'm going to do Pasadena Comic-Con as the next one. And I want to get a lot of these things ironed out if possible. But now let me see how I actually did financially. Okay, so time has passed, same day, but I did the math. It is sloppy because I forgot about other things like the big dog had brought some toys, and so sometimes I sold it for him, but he can't take credit card, so I'd have to put it on mine. Then he'd pay me back, and then I'd pay him back, and then we'd pay each other back for dinner, and things got a little sloppy. So none of this is perfect, but it's all true. It's all generally true, even if not factually accurate. So the other thing is, I stayed with the big dog, so I didn't have to pay a hotel. If I went without staying, I would need 3 to 5 days of hotel cost, depending on how close I wanted to cut it. And if I got a hotel for $100 a day and only stayed for 3 days, that's $300. The only downside of staying with the big dog is one day, Friday, the day that I don't think we should have had a convention anyway, I needed to take a Lyft to and from the city, and it cost me like $200-ish. So even with that, even if I found a super cheap hotel in San Francisco or near San Francisco and only stayed 3 days, it still was cheaper to stay with my buddy who did the show with me the other 2 days, drove me back and forth, went out to dinner. So my expenses for doing the show, bare minimum. Now this is just parking, tolls, things. I didn't count food or drinks because a lot of what I did was going out to eat and enjoying myself. Excuse me, if I wanted to do it, I could have packed a bunch of granola bars. I could just eat, the cheapest, get some grocery store food, whatever. But I didn't count any food. This is just for parking. My table was $300. My flight was $305. Everything else was parking. The Lyft, like I said, was $200 and something. So my unavoidable bare minimum costs, $992.62. That's accurate. Really, bare minimum is more that because I'd have to, even if I bought food here, it would still count. But let's say $1,000 bare minimum. And that would be, But I spent closer to $1,300, $1,280.55. So about $300 more than I needed to. And that's because I went out to eat a bunch at nice places. I treated myself to Starbucks every day and got those fancy coffees in Japantown. Now, I'm not counting any toys or prints or anything I bought, although I didn't spend much money on that. I did go to do this virtual reality laser tag thing with the big dog, which was like $55. So again, I treated it like it was a vacation too. All this, might be off by a few dollars here and there, but basically, and that was the other thing. Staying with the big dog saved me a couple $100, and I spent that having fun with him. So if I was looking to just absolutely make all the profit I could, maybe I could have made $300 more and just not gone out and done anything and just eaten crackers. And maybe if I twisted it around and didn't get the Lyft and found some cheap hotel room, maybe I could have made another $400, like $300, $400, $500 or whatever. But I didn't. I chose to do it this way. And my gross income, which again might be a little bit off, was in the neighborhood of $1,600. $1,688.73. And so deducting what I spent, not the bare minimum, but what I spent, I still made $408.18. So even if my math is way off, I came out ahead. Like if I'm off by like $200, $300, I still came out ahead $100, $200 after spending all the money I wanted to have a good time and have a good weekend with my friend in town, enjoying the local cuisine, etc. And if I wanted to scale it back, I could have made more money. So again, it was a worthwhile show. It was worth doing. I hope it's as good for me and better for the attendees next year. And that's G-Fest 2020. That's not G-Fest. It's Godzilla Fest 2024 San Francisco.